welcome back to ManGuard Rovers. I'm Shaun. I'm joined with Phil. It's been a few weeks since we've been online, so apologies for that. But we are back. It's been 3 weeks, so we'll catch up and we'll bring you our predictions. How you doing, Phil? You good?
Yes, very good. I've enjoyed a wonderful Christmas period. I've got a few festive pounds still to work off this January. But yeah, no, we're in. The new year's going well. We've had a very exciting Christmas period, a very enjoyable Christmas period as an Arsenal fan, I'm not going to lie. So yeah, I'm all good. Ready for
So
2026 and ready to lift that trophy. And we'll see what happens as the season goes on. But
brave words early. Well, there's been a lot going on over the festive period. I mean, you're 6 points clear at top of the table. Um, you're obviously chuffed. Villa chasing you
absolutely.
hard. Uh, not,
Come on, come on. Aston Villa's season is all about putting points between them and whoever's in fifth or sixth. Do you know what I mean? That's their number one priority. However, to be fair, I mean, their plight I think been summed up by this week's transfer stuff. To be honest, I mean, I would have I would have. I'm a big fan of what Villa are doing, which might seem strange as an Arsenal fan watching Unai Emery get on with stuff, but kind of their plight is summed up by the fact if you can have one of your transfer targets stolen by Tottenham, that pretty much
yeah,
sums up what an appalling place you're in from a club transfer perspective. And I get the fact that Gallagher's from London and he might want to go back to London, but if you're losing out on that transfer, it's disappointing in it, particularly when you think you might be in attack. Because I saw that initially, I thought that could be a really, really
yeah,
shrewd signing for Villa, and it's a bit of a kick in the teeth to lose that to Tottenham. Um, but I think that sums up where Villa's challenges are when it comes to maintaining a challenge with Arsenal, with Manchester City, with Liverpool when they get themselves fully back on track across the course of a 38 game season. So Villa, let's face it, Villa are absolutely. What I say to people at the minute about Arsenal being top of the league, I'm just enjoying every single moment. Do you know what I mean? And if we win, we win. If we don't, we don't. But I'll enjoy the fact that right now we're 6 points clear. I think if you're a Villa fan, you've got to follow that same approach right here, right now. Enjoy every absolute second because your team are playing amazing. They're absolutely on song, on wonderful individual runs of form going on for players in your team. But I think you've got to remember the fact that in September, I think if you look back at one of our earlier shows, nudge nudge wink wink, folks, I think we had an interesting debate where Nathan was explaining to us that Villa fans want to do Emery out because it'd been such an appalling start to the season. So you go back to that point in September, you just snatched your hands off for the chance of being in Champions League football. So I think
yeah. I mean, they
bit of
couldn't score a
perspective.
goal, could they, for anything? Couldn't score a goal for Liverpool at the start of the season, and yeah, there was
It was
a
really, really slow start from and like I say, I saw the show. I watched the show over Christmas, and it just made me smile to myself. That, as I say, it was a very impassioned discussion where Nate was obviously touching on the fact that Villa fans would want him gone, and me and you were talking about giving him time. So, he's sort of been proven right over time. But I think, like you say, you enjoy every single moment, but you remember what your targets were at the start of the season. Villa deserve as well. I would say at this point, Champions League football. That's what they need to get. And if they can sit on City and Arsenal's coattails for as long as possible, more credit to them. But I think what would sum it up is, you look at that match when we destroyed them at the Emirates, and everybody afterwards, Villa fans and all that, oh, it was just one step too far for Aston Villa. Whereas if Arsenal had lost, it would have been like, what's going on, Arsenal? And that's the difference in expectation, and that's the difference based on the reality of where the two squads and the two clubs are. So enjoy the ride, enjoy the flight. They're doing amazing. But I think when it comes to the end of the season, it'll be Man City and Arsenal battling out for the top.
yeah,
And normally should be Liverpool as well, had they not had such a challenging
yeah,
first half of the season, really. So,
yeah. I mean, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, there could be some managers being shuffled around, obviously with Real Madrid departing with Xabi Alonso, obviously. That were in the news
Did
this
you
week.
see their Did you see their first result under the new guy? Dumped out of the cup by a League Two team.
yeah,
It's not going well for him. He might be gone by the next week.
it might well be.
But,
Yeah, so yeah. I mean, obviously Man United as well. They've got Carrick in now. Amarin got sacked during the break, and they're still not performing, are
I mean,
they?
I'll be honest. Looking at the appointments at United and at Chelsea as well. Obviously, when Maresca go in, I'll be honest. I'm thinking about polishing up my own CV. To be fair, because it seems like they don't play anybody. If you just say you're a lifelong fan, you probably just get the job. So, they're just appointing people to take instruction from the board. Well, any of us off the street can do that. So, yeah, strange appointments. I think you got to dig through some of the hype and the faff that you hear. Like where Man United are demanding Champions League football next season, and just come on, farcical. You just board needs to get a grip. You just sacked your manager. How can you possibly set the same target for the interim manager? But and Rossini at Chelsea again. I think the target for them both is just Champions League football. I mean, you look at the table. And we talk about Villa there and Albert, but there's two massive gaps in the table at the minute. It's that gap between Villa and Liverpool, and it's the
Yeah,
gap between is it Forest and West Ham, and
yeah,
at the bottom, and they're the
7
two big
points.
gaps. Other than that, I think pretty much the rest of the league is separated by about 7 or 8 points, isn't it? Like
I bel
you know,
Yeah,
it is ridiculous how tight the league is, and so you can see why Chelsea and Man United think they've got the chance of Champions League football because of the way the season's going. But the reality is, that it settles down. United. I mean, I know I tipped United to get fifth at the start of the season, so maybe I should wind my neck in, but I also didn't expect Villa to do so well. Um, but you look at it as it settles down. Uh, yeah, it's gonna be. It could be an interesting race for Champions League football. It's quite interesting as well that a number of those teams are obviously praying. I mean, it becomes a bit of self fulfilling doom prophecy, doesn't it, for the teams that are chasing Champions League football? Because you kind of pray and the English teams do well in Europe to make that fifth slot available again, so you get 5 teams in. But the more those teams in Europe do well in Europe, the more money they get, which means the bigger the gap grows between them and the normal teams in the Premier League, and therefore you're perpetuating the Arsenals, the Cities, the Liverpools getting further. Because again, you look at. I know we touched off air before before we were streaming about Mark Guehi at Palace and the rumours, and who are the 3 front runners for him? City, Liverpool, Arsenal. You're like, well, they're the 3 who are already getting the most money. They're the 3 who've already got the biggest squads. They're the 3 who are already expected to be challenging for all the trophies. And yet they're the 3 going for the biggest signing. So you get in this situation where the rich, for want of a political phrase, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting left behind. Like, and it's all right wanting that fifth spot, but the more that fifth spot's opened up, the more money City, Liverpool, Arsenal. I know your boys are still in it as a Spurs and Chelsea, but if you look at the teams that we expect probably to go further and deeper into competition, they're getting richer again. And it seems from last summer and from what we're seeing in January, obviously Semenyo's gone to Manchester City, that they really are happy to burn that cash straight back into the squad. And the
yeah,
more they do that, the more that gap is gonna either at worst be maintained, and at best be maintained, and at worst is gonna grow. Um, so yeah, it's an interesting time at the minute for the likes of Newcastle and Villa, where
yeah,
you've got the money, but you're not necessarily allowed to spend the money. And I think still that's something that, well, without doing a whole show on PSR, at some point it's not working now. Probably us as fans hoped it might work, but um, yeah,
yeah. And there's talk of things changing next year, isn't there? So I guess we'll see what Mr. Masters comes up with. Um, but yeah, it is tight though. Like I say, from fifth, Brentford in fifth to Palace in 13th, there's only a 5 point gap.
it's mad
It's mental.
in
It's
in a good
mental.
way, mad in a good way. Do you know what I mean? Because I enjoy it. It's like watching Premiership from the '90s, isn't it? Where every weekend the table actually changes.
Changes,
Where you
yeah.
look at some of the seasons we've had over the last few years. By this time of year, you're only really looking at 1, maybe 2 teams changing place on a weekend. Whereas this, at the minute now, you've seen 6 and 7 teams changing places, and it's great to see. Sorry, it's great to see looking down on it when you're not in it. Sorry, just to be clear. And I suppose there's a freedom of looking up at it if you're in the relegation zone. If you're right in the thick of the middle of it, it must be stressful as hell,
Yeah. I mean,
as you probably attest to.
we are talking a bit as well about Leeds just before we broke up for Christmas, and obviously Leeds had a bit of a turnaround. Farkas kind of saved his job with some good changes, some
Well,
tactical changes, some great results. And a thrilling game against us. What a game that was. Didn't want it to end,
again,
to
the
be fair.
danger of absolutes, isn't it? Like, again, if you dig through, feel free, folks, dig out more of the streams. But you go back a few weeks, and again, I know Nate's got some family connections into Leeds and stuff, and we've been adamantly told they're definitely not going to get any points out of these next few fixtures, and it's just, Farker's got to go, and well with that when they don't get, and there they are pulling away from the relegation zone, having
Yeah,
performance after performance after performance gone in of quality. They've obviously got some results out of that. They've absolutely robbed against your boys and absolutely robbed against Manchester City, I think it was, wasn't it, with the Foden goal? Um, but the performances since
yeah,
that Manchester City game have been pretty consistent, and they've been consistently good. Really good, obviously blinding, from a neutral perspective. I enjoyed watching the Leeds Newcastle match, obviously, because it just end to end sort of, blood and thunder
Classic
sort of
90s,
thing.
wasn't it?
But yeah, it was an absolutely awesome game to watch, and that's why when I said they were robbed, you just feel sorry for whichever team lost that. If you felt like 3-3 was fair
Yeah.
because so many players on both teams had a good game. Um, but is what it is. But I think from a Leeds point of view, you look at the last few weeks, and you go, do you know what? Again, proof positive that it's worth giving managers time. Farker doesn't become a shit manager overnight just because of a few bad results when you've gone up a division. We all sit there at the start and go, oh, Premier League's the toughest league in the world, and then go, oh, I can't believe a team's come up and can't win games.
Yeah.
Why not? It's the toughest league in the world, and you're brand new to it. So I'm really pleased for him. It's his second bite of the cherry. It shows that he learned some of his lessons um, from the first time he came up was with Norwich. And fair play to the Leeds board. I didn't hear much noise from them wavering in terms of supporting him. And I think we said on stream before, showing some loyalty back to the guy who's got you out of the Championship. And the positive, if he must love it now. Not from a fan, but from a, if you're a manager under pressure, your best way of demonstrating that you're the right man for the job is the players are going out there and giving it everything. And those players have left everything on the pitch over the last sort of 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you're him, that all sits with him. When teams are doing badly, we go, it's up to the manager to motivate them. It's up to the manager to get performance out of the players, and that's exactly what he's done. He's demonstrated he's the right manager for Leeds because he's getting performance, he's getting dedication from the players. They clearly want to do what he's telling them to do, and it's working. And they should be very proud of what they've done over these last, say, 5 or 6 weeks. To be fair, you look at teams like West Ham and even Forest struggling to pull results together. And you're like, you've got better squads probably, and you should be, but you're clearly not clicking. Forest probably more to do with injuries, but the West Ham squad's just self imploding. Um, whereas Leeds are really, really pulling together. And I might not be a Leeds fan, but we all live in Yorkshire. It's nice to see the local club doing well, regardless whether you support them directly or not. So, yeah, they're doing great, and there's a real buzz, to be fair, around the place, really,
Yeah, well,
which is
fair
good.
play to them. Fair play to them. But yeah, the nice little cushion. Like I said, from them now, so in 16th, they're on 22, and that cushion is 7 points in it. So a bit of a gap opening between relegation places and Forest in
You,
17th.
you, you
So
don't, you just don't see where West Ham are getting seven. I mean, I know they will. Well, I know we've got this magical 40-point barrier, but you just don't see where West Ham are getting 7 points in the remaining games. They're playing appalling,
yeah,
really badly. It's not looking good for those bottom three. Not looking
Wolves
good
have
at
picked up a
all.
few points as well, though, aren't they? But again, it's too little, too late, isn't it, for Wolves?
If you give everybody a 20-game head start, it's a little bit too late, isn't it? To be
Yeah,
fair, and they've had some performances. Obviously, made it hard for our boys. And with a bit of a Jerry moment in that match for us. But it's just not. You can't start playing in December. It's
no,
it's too much of a gap. And but if you're I can't think what the lad's name is who's gone in there as manager. Who is it again? It's anyway the new lad anyway from wherever he was from. Anyway, he's doing. If you're him, he's getting what he needs to get, isn't he? He's getting performances ready for the championship. I think
yeah.
if you Wolves, what you want, I think if you're Wolves fans now,
Edwards, that's the one.
sure you
Edwards.
want to see fight, sure you want to see the team pull together, but in your heart of hearts, what you want to know is that when you go down, you're going to bounce straight back. So I think the team need to show enough now in the second half of the season. The fans don't, they're disappointed when they get relegated, but they don't react with anger. They react to kind of, right, it was a shit season, but we can clearly see we've got the quality, we've got the manager, we've got the togetherness. We're going to literally bounce straight back into Premier League, and you know what, we'll get it right next time. I think that's what the fans. If you're a Wolves fan, unfortunately, that's probably the best you can hope for out of this season now, because
Yeah,
you're not surviving. So you need to see some sort of guarantee you're going to come straight back again, I think.
we'll see what happens there. Yeah. Well, we've got we may as well move on and go into game week 22, Phil. Kicks off with a nice little derby in Manchester at 12:30.
So predicting this shit don't get any easier, does it? Honestly,
It
like
does, does
there's been some weird and wonderful results over Christmas already, and then we start. We're trying to pick this one where, like, we've got Jekyll and Hyde United against I don't know, inconsistency City, I suppose. But it's so hard because you've naturally got to say I think City will have too much. I think City will score too many goals. I think City will
Yeah,
dominate the game. I think City will dominate the ball. But you look over the last few years, and Man United have a really, really, really annoying habit of turning up against the big teams because, like, the players decide they want to play against the big teams because this is where they should be, and then they disappear against the little teams because they're too good for them. But so anything could happen because you just don't have a clue which Manchester United is coming out of the tunnel. Um, Particularly after, like, they've not exactly set the world on light. They've not exactly had a post manager bounce with Amarim's departure, and Michael Carrick, while he seems solid enough, doesn't exactly seem like the sort of person who's going to inspire them to put your guts on the line and terrorize City. So I can't.
he's
I
not
just
there long
can't
term,
be.
is
You
he?
can't. You can't logically back against City. So City going to win. Um, and City going to win by 3 goals to 1. I
You've
think
matched my prediction there. I've also said 3-1.
it'll
Also said
it'll
3-1. Yeah,
be.
I mean, City will just have too much, I think. Semenyo looks like he's walking on water there, doesn't he? He's just come straight into
It
that
looks like
squad
he's
and he
come
just,
straight through their academy to the first team. He just not
yeah.
even skipped a beat as he just
I was
straight in there. Yeah.
really impressed by him against us. He had a good game. Doku again, down the left, give Miley a really tough game at right back. It made it really difficult for him. So, yeah, I just think they'll be too strong. And you've always got Haaland to rely on. I think
Well,
it's
you
really tough
say
for
that
United.
he's looked a bit frustrated. Not he's just looked a very frustrated figure these last 2 or 3 games. I think, like, he's don't like sharing goals, does he?
I don't think it does it?
I think that's part of it. But you're right. Even if he's not scoring, he's occupying two central defenders, isn't he? And that creates the space. So yeah, they'll have too much of Manchester United. There's too many inexperienced. I don't know if any of the Afcon boys are back from Man United. But even if they are, I just think there's too much inexperience in that Man United team. There's too much. They're going to probably try and do something funky with team structure, which is not the game to do it against Manchester City. But they don't want to play 3-4-3, so they're going to have to try and play either 4-2-3-1 or 4-4-2 or whatever spin you put on the same formation these days. But four at the back. But they're not used to playing four at the back,
No,
and I'm not sure they've got the speed and the discipline in the fullback areas to play a back four. I think you'd almost be better playing 3-5-2 because the players are used to it. Because I worry for them in four at the back plus whatever you stick in front of it, that whoever you put a fullback either won't have the pace if you Luke Shaw, for example, or won't have the discipline if you're Dallo to actually stick with wingers of the quality of Semenyo, Cherky, Doku. Obviously, Foden cycles out there on occasion. Bernardo Silva scampers down that right hand side. Like, I just don't think they'll have the discipline to stop the wingers. And as you've just said, you've got Haaland will be waiting in the middle like a crocodile for a little gazelle. Do you know what I mean? Like, ready to gobble it all up. So I
Rodri's
just
back
think
as well,
City.
innit?
Yeah, I just think City will grind them down over the course of 90 minutes, and Man United aren't good enough defensively to keep them out. They might well cause mischief because Man City defence ain't exactly all singing, all dancing, but I don't think they'll cause enough mischief. I think Man City will have too much of the ball for Man United to cause too much of a problem, really. So
You
three
never
one
know.
Man City.
We've seen strange things happen. It could be a correct masterclass. Yet we don't know. But
Well, obviously, as an Arsenal fan, I certainly hope so. I would love it if Man United get something. I would love it if they beat them in honour of our King Kev, who we're all thinking of at this time, obviously as
yeah,
well.
unfortunately, yeah.
But and fingers crossed for him and all that. But yeah, we would love it if Man United beat Manchester
It's
City,
a
obviously.
lovely
But
little touch there.
I'm a realist. I can't see it happening.
No,
So
I appreciate the Kevin Keegan touch there, Phil. I like that. Moving on from Man United and City, we've got Chelsea host Brentford, 3 o'clock kickoff. I'll go first. I've gone 2-1 Brentford. I think the man in form, Thiago,
yeah,
will be scoring a couple, hopefully, as he's gone quickly back into my fantasy team after my horror show over
yeah,
Christmas.
that was a dodgy area of yours, wasn't it? Because he's bagged me a shed load of points. Good lad. Um, yeah, no, it's difficult in it because you look at the performance we were touching on. You look at the performance last night. Obviously, filming this after the Carabao Cup, so you look at the performance last night, and you look at the performance alone. You think Arsenal probably won that game 4 or 5-0. But Chelsea showed fight. They stayed in it. That dodgy haircut rat scored them 2 goals. Um, and it's just irritating, isn't it? Because anyway. So they showed a bit of fight and a bit of spirit, but then this is a sort of match where they just forget to turn up, and it'd be interesting to see. Rossini, does he have any real impact? Obviously, he's had an easy coast in the FA Cup. Then he's had a game where no one really expects him to win. This is really, I guess, his first bread and butter game where, well, let's see what you really got then, because this is your day job. This is Premier League. We need the Champions League spots. So, but this is the game where we've seen over this season where the youngsters at Chelsea struggle to turn up, and because they struggle to get motivated, or they struggle to concentrate against a team of Brentford's discipline. They struggle probably against the set pieces. Um, and it'd be interesting to see how they get on disciplinary wise, because again against Arsenal they looked really fragile from a disciplinary perspective. And from their experienced players, some supposedly the experienced players as well. Um, so yeah, I think it's a difficult one because I think anything could. You say it's at Stamford Bridge.
It is, yeah, yeah.
It's Stamford Bridge. I mean, you've got to lean toward. I'm going to go 2-2. Let's have a Desmond for the new year,
It's a
because I
first,
think you've got to fancy Chelsea to score at the Bridge, haven't you? But I think Brentford will score a couple. So let's go 2-2
if you look at
and
the
hope
form
Chelsea
table,
drop points.
Brentford are top of the form table. I
They're
think
doing
only a
really
goal,
that,
only a goal difference from you. So
I know everyone grumbles about their boards and everything, but I tell you what, Brentford fans can't have any quibbles with what their board did. Like I said, I mean, if you go back and watch our shows predicting league finishes, we were all decimating Brentford in terms of they've lost this player, they've lost
yeah,
that player, they've lost the manager. Unbelievable season for Brentford. Right up there with the chat from Sunderland for me at the minute when you talk about manager of the season, because those two are just ripping up trees with the performances they're getting out of their teams at the minute, and it'll be interesting with it. I mean, I suppose at the end of the day, it's halfway through the season. I mean, shit all, then if you finish in the bottom half at the end of it, but right here, right now, they're both doing fantastic jobs, which is, I think, for me, is great to see. Really good to see. So yeah, let's go, Desmond. 2-2.
first Desi of the day.
See how we get.
Yeah. We've got Leeds hosting Fulham, 3 o'clock Saturday.
Yeah,
Leeds
it's
finding a bit
hard
of
this
form.
because
Fulham scoring goals
well,
though as well.
they've both had really good performances in recent weeks, and they've both got a couple of players who are on fire in terms of, like, Calvert Lewin and
Wilson,
Harry Wilson,
yeah.
and they're both having wonderful rich veins of form. They both had some cracking results and performances over Christmas, but um, I think the way they've been playing, I think Leeds at home with the cauldron, with the fans, I think Leeds will take that game, and I think Leeds 2-0 to Leeds.
Ooh.
I
Well,
was going to say 2-1, but let's go 2-0. It's Ellen Road, isn't it? So
I've gone for the Desi on this one.
really,
Yeah. I think it'll just be one of them high scoring games, which it wouldn't surprise me. Leeds scoring lots, conceding lots, Fulham scoring plenty of goals as well. I won't be surprised if Fulham nick it, but yeah, I'm gonna go for a Desi on this one. 2-2 for me. 2-2.
what?
Um,
Right,
Liverpool at home to Burnley. I've gone for a fairly reserved 2-1 win to Liverpool here.
it's natural Liverpool. It's local derby-ish, sort of.
Mm,
Well, they're all Lancashire, aren't they? So I'll lump them
yeah,
all together on the wrong side of the Pennines. But yeah, I mean, anything can happen in Liverpool at Anfield these days, can't it? I mean,
yeah,
it feels like forever ago that Anfield seemed like a fortress. And I mean, it was only a couple of months ago. You'd have bet you'd put your house every week on Liverpool at Anfield. And obviously, they've had really sad news about Conor Bradley being out for the season, which is a real shame because he was really number one, sparking a bit of a partnership with Frimpong. But I also do think they look better defensively with him in the shape. So that's a problem for him, particularly if he decides to play Szoboszlai back in the right back again, because I think they lose so much from a going forward perspective when Szoboszlai drops back into right back. I think he
yeah.
can do a perfectly good job. Let's say we'll ignore his back heel against Barnsley. That is literally Muppet of the Year award goes to Szoboszlai for his
Absolutely
arrogance.
ridiculous. Yeah, stupid.
But they lose so much attacking wise when he has to drop back in there as right back. So but Burnley are just atrocious. They've really dropped off, which is a real shame for Scott Park, because the first couple of months, they really, or the first 6 or 8 weeks, they looked really, really impressive. But that's a long distant memory now, I think. And I think Liverpool are close enough. I mean, if they play I mean, they didn't manage any shots on goal against Arsenal, did they? But if they dominate the ball like they did, they'll manage shots on goal against Burnley, because Burnley don't have Arsenal's defence. So if you're going 2-1, I'll go 2-0 just to have a different scoreline. But yeah, I think Liverpool win it
Yeah.
reasonably comfortably. To be fair.
Low scoring, comfortable affair for Liverpool, I think.
Mhm.
Etikite, is he going back in your squad? Is this what are you keeping him out? Is
I'm always a bit dubious when they said they've had something like leggy going off. So I always so he's out at the minute. I always like to give him a couple of weeks just to see if they're not going to straight away relapse. To be fair, which often can bite you in the ass, right? Because obviously they come back from injury, they've got a point to prove, so they score a couple in the first couple of matches. But he's not going straight back in for me. I don't think. I don't. It's low. I think that game's likely to be low scoring enough. I don't think I'm going to miss out on too much. But we'll see. Certainly, he looked impressive. When he came on in the match against Barnsley, he looked sharp. He's looked sharp all season, to be fair.
to
And
be
I, and
fair,
I
yeah.
think, and I do think he's a strong contender to go back in. Because I just want to make sure his legs are up to it. And that sounds daft, but you know what I mean. In terms of won't he sort of relapse? But I think he's a man who's got a real point to prove while Isak's out. He will want to make that jersey, that position his while
Yeah.
Isak's out and really make Isak have to fight for it when he comes back next season. Is it next season or is he back this? I don't know, but
I
it's a
don't
while
think
in
I'll
it.
see
So
him
he's
this
got he's
season.
got he's got a prolonged period of time now to make that position his, and I think he looks hungry to do it. So I think he will bounce back, but no, he's not going straight back in. No,
No.
I don't have the I don't have the transfers for it in fantasy football. To be fair, so he'd have to wait.
Another one. Sunderland at home to Palace. That's a tasty one. Shame it's at 3 o'clock. Yeah.
See,
Where'd you go with this one?
it's interesting your idea of tasty because I think he's got boring fucking nil-nil draw written all over that. Like,
I just think it'll be a
I, I
nice physical clash. This.
I think it'll be fiery. I think it'll be feisty. I think it's one of those where if you're at the match, the atmosphere will be quality.
Yeah.
But I can just see it ending nil-nil because I just think I can see them both cancelling each other out, or I could just as easily see, either Mukiele or Guehi at the other end popping up from a corner and or a 1-1 from a. It's got draw written all over it. I'm going to go with that. So definitely going to definitely. It's got draw written all over it. So I'm going draw, um, and I'll go 1-1 because I can just see them both scoring from a corner and then not a lot else going off. Do you know what I mean? I can see lots of like you say like highlights of tackles and highlights of challenges. I think there'll be lots of atmosphere, but I just think because they'll both probably sit deep enough, there'll be a lack of quality in the final third to break down the fact that both teams will defend deep. I think so. Yeah, 1-1.
Sunderland should have some of their AFCON players back as well, shouldn't they? Or at least a few of them filtering back in now as
It's
well.
just how they've
So
held up to travel, though, isn't it? Do you know what?
it
And
is,
I
yeah.
think that's probably one of the biggest compliments you can give Sunderland. Isn't it? Like we again talking pre-Christmas about they're losing 7 players and how they're going to cut them. They've not really they've not really missed a beat. Like you wouldn't if you didn't know they had 7 players at the AFCON, you wouldn't know they had seven
No,
players. Like you look at the performance drop off in some of the matches for like a Liverpool or an Arsenal or a Man City, and everyone bemoans, oh well, they've got 2 people out. And Sunderland lost 7 players and still performed. They're not making excuses about we've got 7 players missing. So it does sometimes remind you of just how, and as much as I support one of the pampered ponies, it does remind you sometimes of what pampered ponies they are because you're like, some of these teams have got freaking loads of players out and they just get on with it. Like they're not bitching about it. So, but then again, I suppose at the top of the league, it's fine margins, isn't it? You've got to find something to bitch about. So,
yeah. I mean, in
no,
all
I,
fairness,
I did.
sorry, go on.
You are?
Sorry. I was going to say, in all fairness to Sunderland, looking at the last 5 results, they've only lost one. They've drawn the rest,
For
including
me,
again.
you
Yeah,
wouldn't you
it's
wouldn't know that had 7 players out.
no,
Like so,
no,
they've done what they needed to do really, which is they've absorbed the impact of Afcon and maintained their place in the league. And I think I think again whether it'll be this weekend, I don't know because I'm always a bit dubious as to players have been away with their countries and they've let their hair down a bit possibly when they've been knocked out and how well they've travelled back and just getting back into and I mean as well. I know it sounds a bit harsh, but you if you're an African player who's just gone back to Africa where it's nice and hot and sunny, and then you're coming back to flipping Sunderland, oh, there's got to be an element of acclimatization, right? I mean, you come back off holiday and you feel really fucking miserable because you're like, oh, it's been lovely and sunny over there, and now I'm back to this bloody grey, wet, miserable, freaking, you know, Yay, the northeast. But like,
It's
you
lovely
know,
weather in about.
come on, we've all got back from holiday before, haven't we? And felt a bit like, ugh, the first day back at work. So
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, I think he's got draw written all over it. Me 1-1.
Uh, I did have a drawdown, but you know what? I'm gonna go Palace 2-1.
Ooh, he's gone big,
Yeah,
gone big.
just
Munoz
no.
isn't back yet, is he? Or is he?
Who?
Is Munoz back yet?
I'm not sure, to be fair.
He's been out for
Been
he was
out for a
out a bit
while,
over
hasn't
Christmas.
he? Yeah, I'll have to look.
I don't know what it was looking like. But anyway, fair enough. You've gone the win. You go
Yeah,
that.
I'll be keeping an eye on him in as well because he could potentially go back into my squad in my fantasy football team. To be fair,
Oh, it's too expensive.
to be fair,
Too
too
expensive.
expensive. Well, your second favourite team, Spurs, host West Ham in a lovely little derby down in London. What are you going for this one?
Spurs. Oh, do you know what? One of the highlights of my Christmas was finding out that Thomas the Frank Engine's an Arsenal fan. I wish I'd I wish I'd sent him that mug myself, honestly. What a lad. Honestly, what an absolute win for Arsenal to get an Arsenal fan appointed as Spurs manager. As if you could want it to be any more perfect. And yes, their season is showing the fact they're being led by an Arsenal fan as well. So no, who are they
Yeah.
playing again? I mean, it doesn't really matter. They're going to lose, but like,
West Ham,
who are they playing?
Spurs, West Ham.
At Tottenham. Oh yeah, at Spurs. Spurs don't win at Spurs. The only person who ever wins at Spurs is Beyonce. Like so, no Spurs. There's no way. There's no way I'm backing Spurs to win at Spurs because if anybody can screw up against the bottom teams, it's Spurs. So no, you're not. No, your cockerel's getting hammered. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way you're winning it. No way. With all the negatives, I wouldn't even be surprised if Paquetá gets transferred out first and West Ham still find a way to win. So
It's gonna
you
be
know,
because it's yeah, pretty much done
well,
it.
he says he's going on strike, doesn't he? So like,
Oh, is he
they're
going on
going to get
strike
rid of
now as
him.
well? That's the theme, innit?
I don't know. But fucking
Oh,
Nuno could put himself back in goal and they still be all right against Tottenham. So like, it's just not happening. Spurs, you're not winning. You're not getting me voting for you. No, no, no. Every time I supported you earlier this season, you have let me down. So I'm sticking to my first impulse. You're rubbish. So it's going to be Spurs 1, West Ham 3.
same score, but I've gone the reserve. Reserve. Fuck, I can't even speak. I'm going in reserve. Oh my god, I can't get it out. I've gone the opposite way again. I've
Reverse,
gone yeah, that's the one.
reverse. Is that the one?
That's the one. Yeah, spitting my words out. Gosh.
Well,
Yeah, I've gone for.
I'm gonna really look forward to Monday evening, and you can have the same realization I had of when I chose to put my faith in little Tottenham Hotspur earlier this season, and you'll realise why all their fans are always so bloody miserable. Because on Monday you'll be eating humble pie. So, but you go for it. Go Spurs. No, come on, you hammers. Go up the irons.
Conor Gallagher has found himself rejecting Aston Villa and going to Spurs. Do you think
Conor
he'll
Gallagher.
start?
I heard a rumor. I heard a rumor that Conor Gallagher was going to be sectioned before that game because what sort of bloody idiot would choose Spurs over Aston Villa? This can't be right, can it? I heard the Premier League were going to decline his work permit because, like, just what on earth? He's clearly got rabies or something. Like, there's no way he's mentally sound. What an absolute wally! Honestly, I mean, Nate's not here, but like, who on earth would pick Aston Villa? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's be honest. I mean, even the Frank engine's probably probably going to have a Villa cap on or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, just whatever he's going to do next. But claim he didn't
Yeah,
look at the badge on his hat or something. Anyway, so
who is
we'll
Arsenal?
see.
Well,
I mean, I do think I say whoever got Gallagher was a shrewd signing, but
player.
you've got to be tapped in the head to pick playing for Tottenham over playing for Aston Villa. You've
Yeah,
got to be.
absolutely.
Um, but it's done now, so I'd wish him luck, but no.
Well, we'll see what happens, and that we'll talk about that on Monday night. Yeah. 5:30, Forest home to your boys.
Ah, the demolition job. Line up the cannons and blow the gates down. Oof,
Just back.
we're coming for you. Coming for you. This, I think I said to you boys off air, didn't I? This 4 away game run, I've already predicted 3 wins and a draw, and I didn't. And Forest ain't getting the draw. We're 2 wins down. It'll be 3 wins come Saturday tea time. So and then we'll dance off to Italy and see what happens there. Really. So no, Forest are not rebuilding fast enough. They're not going to stop Arsenal, and we're going to beat Sean Dyche at his own game with set pieces. At least two set pieces. Oh, honestly, it made me smile that FA Cup match with 3 goals from set pieces. Beautiful, beautiful. Can just feel the rage coming from all the haters. But no, so yeah, I mean, Arsenal are going to come to town. Forest are going to try and probably bunker up and hope that it's on the break, which we'll have to be wary of. They've got some very
Yeah.
dangerous players on the break in terms of Gibbs White and Hudson Odoi, and for all I'm saying, we're going to go and walk it. It won't be easy because Dyche will have them organised. He will sit deep. It gives me shivers always remembering his bloody first game as Everton manager when he managed to turn us over when Everton looked shocking all season. So obviously, I'm making it sound easy. And it's going to be. I've got a lot of respect for what Dyche does with teams, but no, it's a different Arsenal this season. I've said it a few times. They ain't getting stopped by Nottingham Forest, and yeah, the wind train's going to roll in, I reckon. So, I mean, win the dog. You know what I mean? He's there, sat cheering us on in the stands. Um, but yeah, no, let's go conservative. Arsenal 2, Forest nil.
I've almost matched
We're
each
away
other's
from
fourth
home.
score tonight. I also had 2-0 down. I'll go 3-0. Go 3-0. You're right. You'll score 2 set pieces and one from open play, probably. But yeah, you're
Well,
far too
maybe.
strong. Defense is far too organised. Forest still building, aren't they? So it's going to be a long. I think.
Yeah, do you know and they really are. I feel a bit sorry for Daesh because obviously he's had Chris Wood before at Burnley and he had an amazing season last season, did Woody? But listen to me like I know him. But it just they just need him back from injury. Do you know what I mean? They're just really lacking that focal point striker, which would really help the way they play because kind of you see, it works perfect, doesn't it? Like sit deep, clear it quickly. Chris Wood holds it up, plays it off to a Doyle, or plays it off to Gibbs White, and suddenly you're in behind. And without that, the ball that releases Gibbs White or the ball that releases Hudson Odoi has just got to be absolutely perfect without that focal point to hold it up, and it's just not happening enough for him at the minute. So yeah,
I'm
they've got
surprised Forest
challenges.
aren't
Be
putting him.
interesting to see. Like, Marinakis isn't. I mean, I'm not sure he'll open for the weekend, depending what happens. But I mean, Marinakis isn't scared to spend money, is he? So maybe they'll do something in this window. There's still 2 weeks the window left. There's obviously not a lot of rumours flying about strikers being available, but then again, rumours are often incorrect, aren't they? So we'll see. But I mean, it's
Yeah,
yeah. I just don't think they'll have enough to stop this Arsenal squad doing
no,
what it
no
needs. What
chance.
it needs to, particularly when they'll have already watched. They'll likely already watch City win early in the day. Well, whatever happens, they'll watch City win. So they'll either be looking to put pressure on City by capitalising if City have dropped points, or they know what they need to do in terms of maintaining the gap. So I think Arsenal will be too organised for them.
Yeah, yeah, can't argue with that. I'm surprised Forest haven't gone in for a striker. Callum Wilson sat there waiting for a club to go, yes, please. He's out of contract for West Ham. He got released. Well, terminated the contract, didn't they?
The trouble is the fitness issue, isn't it? It's the fitness issue. Like
Well, he went
and
good.
I get you can get him like I get you can get the pay to play thing, but your issue is with that is that you've saved the money if he doesn't play, but because you've signed him, you probably then don't go and sign somebody else because you go, I've covered that gap now. But so then when he gets injured or when he is injured, you've got the gap back again, and the
Yeah,
transfer window will be shut. So he's always been like that, and like even when he was at Newcastle, he's just one of them. It's a bit like now. Like I think one of the reasons why everyone's so happy for Calvert Lewin is because he's been in that group of players before, where you really like what he does, and you can see he's got talent, you can
yeah,
see he's gifted, but he's always bloody injured. And
held back.
and Callum Wilson, like I say, Calvert Lewin's had a few weeks for Leeds, and every week I expect to see in the headline somewhere that Calvert Lewin's limped off injured because he's so off. He got glass legs, hasn't he? But but Callum Wilson is absolutely in that. If you're happy if you sign Callum Wilson, you're happy if he plays one game, he's injured the next, plays one game, injured the next. If you get 50% of games out of him, it's probably one of his best seasons, and it's just so sad because he's a very, very gifted striker. But
Yes.
I don't think he fixes Forest's issue
No,
particularly.
no.
Um,
Just a thought path. But yeah, yeah. It is what it is. What it is on that subject. Moving on to Sunday, we've got the 2 o'clock kickoff. Wolves away for us.
Oh, you've got
Uh,
the charity match this week, have you? Ugh,
yeah, charity
that
match,
drops
yeah.
the right time. It's some pressure on the top 5, hasn't it?
So I'm expecting a comfortable win. Say comfortable. I'm expecting a win.
And then some.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
Even with your away form, that should be straightforward,
It should be, yeah.
banker into everybody's account right now.
You think so? Yeah. Yeah. I just think I'm just not sure who's going to start up front with the ways alternating between Worcester and Baltimore.
Someone, I don't know what he's doing, but someone needs to teach Whistle how to shoot.
I know.
Because if he
I
could
know.
actually finish his breakfast, then Newcastle wouldn't be behind in that Carabao Cup tie going to the Etihad. Like, honestly, that first one that he skied over the bar, oh, I'd have been disappointed if my granny had missed it. Like, just appalling.
I thought that were it. I thought
And
that were it. The game was set up 1-0 up. Let's see attackers. Count them on counter. 2-0 up to us. In a nice position
absolutely,
going into second
see,
leg. It just didn't
I
happen
mean,
that way, did
I
it?
mean, suppose if you're gonna cut him the best piece of slack, he's probably showing that he's still rusty from coming back from injury. Do you know what I mean? And he
Yeah,
showed
absolutely.
flares of exactly why you signed him. But for me, at the minute, I know Eddie. It's difficult for Eddie, is it? Because he desperately needs to get minutes into his legs. But every minute he's on the pitch, you feel like he's a wasted minute for Voltemada.
Yeah.
So who has and is scoring goals. So it's really tricky because you want to get Whistler up to speed. But if I was him, I'd be starting Voltemada, hopefully trying to get a couple of goals in the first half. And go, you know what, Nick, you go and sit and chill for second half because it doesn't matter now. We'll just let Whist get on and have 45 minutes in his legs and try and run Wolves maybe when they're chasing the game. I mean, that's your logical thing, isn't it? You want to save Whistler to when Wolves are chasing the games. So you want to be 1 or 2 up and then bring him on.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
they're
It
forced to
is.
come out, and that suits his game running in behind, which absolutely doesn't suit Voltemada's game. Voltemada's happy when they're sitting deep, and he can get in the middle of it all, win his headers, hold the ball up. He's good at holding the ball up and laying it off. So um,
It started
for
them well
me, that's
against
how you do
Bournemouth
it.
last week in FA Cup. Bit
Yeah,
of
it was
change
very
of
much
formation.
reminiscent of the old Shearer Sutton partnership, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see if how that partnership once Whistler is fit, if that partnership's integrated a little bit more. Be interesting. Bruno's in great form, scoring loads of points on fantasy football. Unfortunately, he's not in my squad at the minute, although he should be. Another frustration of mine with that. Lewis Miley's been playing great at right back, even though he's not a natural right back. He's been playing there the last few weeks since Tino's injury. So yeah, I think we'll be all right against Wolves. I think we'll take away 3 points. What about you? What score are you going for on that one?
no, I want to hear your score first. I
Oh,
don't think you've
sorry,
actually given
three.
me your score yet.
I'm going 3-1.
3-1
Mm.
as a Newcastle fan. Oh, Shawnee boy, I tell you. That's the difference. See, top tier mentality up here. Newcastle 4, Wolves nil. Absolute demolition, walk in the park. No, thank you very much. You're not having anything out of this game. So Newcastle, easy peasy. Wolves might have looked a bit more organised these last few weeks, but if Newcastle play half as well as they should, and hopefully take out some of their frustration of how well they played and yet how little they got out of that game against Manchester City, um, then I think Wolves are on course for a hiding. To be fair, so yeah, Newcastle 4, Wolves nil.
I like your confidence. I like your confidence. Villa at home to Everton on Sunday, 4:30. Should be all right for Villa, shouldn't it?
Yeah, another one where I think obviously Villa have had that precious week off. I'm sure they would have liked to still be in the Carabao Cup, but they've had that precious week off. And obviously it wasn't. Well, I say it was. I mean, I watched the match. I mean, it didn't look on paper, I suppose, playing Tottenham and they only won 2-1. It reads like a taxing match, but I mean, I watched it. It was a very one-sided 2-1. It was quite
Yeah.
shocking that it finished 2-1. To be fair, having watched the game, and Villa was so far on top. But yeah, they've had that week off. Obviously, they've got one eye on Champions League starting up again next week.
Next week,
But
yeah.
um, I think they've had the week off. They'll have too much for Everton. And I think it'd be reasonably comfortable for Villa if they play anything like they can play. But I think probably what you'll see is that Villa will get ahead and then they'll probably start playing within themselves with one eye on the Champions League. So I think Villa 2, Everton nil. I don't think Villa have got. I don't think. Sorry, I don't think Everton have got enough up top to worry Villa
Yeah.
um, with the striker situation. So yeah, Villa 2, Everton nil for me.
I also went 2-0, but I'm going to change that. I'm going to go 3-0 Villa. just so the scores are different.
There's every chance of it,
Yeah,
to be fair,
it could
you
be
know.
4-5 Villa wanted it to be sometimes, you see if they set themselves up at home, McGinn's
And we don't
playing
know what's happening with
40.
transfers again, do we? Like, obviously, they're rumoured to be linked to Marmoush, which I think, again, if they could pull that off, would be a heck of a clutch signing to come in January. Obviously, I think there's talk of have they ever let him go? They're talking about letting Marlon move on, which is a real surprise to me because he's done really well. He's like, he's really
It could be
covered.
dangerous. Could be dangerous.
He's covered for Ollie Watkins' poor form in a lot of matches this season. So, but the same thing happened with the lad who went to Saudi last year, wasn't it? Like Emery seems to have this. He just doesn't seem to like these sort of nippy strikers who are a bit, a bit swingy. But even when they've done him a good job and won him some points, but no, whatever happens, Villa will have. I
Too
think
much.
we'll take that. And back to your point, Villa want to be seen. Villa want to be seen as a involved in a title race, or they're setting their stall out as a long-standing Champions League club. You've got to be expecting to beat Everton at home. I'm not saying you will, but when you come to predictions, you've got to be expecting a Champions League club to be able to beat Everton at home. Um, so yeah, that's what I expect.
Just sort of dropped off a little bit Everton recently, haven't they? Like they had a spell where they were playing really well. Some good link-up play, Grealish, Dewsbury Hall combining really well in midfield, and it just seems to have all fallen apart over the last few weeks.
I
Um,
think we've touched on it before, and the difference between the clubs at the top, or the clubs who want to be at the top, and the clubs who are more mid-table as a standard. They've all got the ability. It's the consistency. That's where they're lacking. The top clubs do it week in, week out. Or if you're not doing it week in, week out, they've got the guy on the bench who will replace you and come in and do it week in, week out. Whereas the clubs halfway down, they'll do it one week and they won't do it the next two. And they also don't have the guy on the bench to come on and do it the other 2 weeks. So I think that's where you stand, and that's why a 38 game season shows you, doesn't it, who's the best club overall. Probably a team's probably the wrong expression these days because it is a squad game. But um, Villa should have too much for Everton the way they're playing, I think, and I think Emery's probably got the edge on Moyes in terms of tactical nous when it comes to impacting the game. So yeah,
yeah, he's a great manager, having a great season for Villa, especially since the start of the season when it was a bit slow out the blocks, weren't they? But yeah,
he found his
beautiful
right fit. He's
pace
a
now.
mid-table manager who looks after the Europa League. Do you know what I mean? That's why it didn't work us. So all the best to him at his level. Honestly, I'll be honest. I'm only saying it because I found out. Obviously, as Arsenal fans, we've had a bit of it. He's haunted our dreams over the last few years, and then he always seems to have a little man complex when he comes to play against Arsenal. That he's desperate to prove he should have been given longer. He should be given more time. But if you ever needed proof of that, if you ever want to see the funniest interview in football, just watch Emery's interview after the Arsenal match. Oh, the rage was dripping off him. It was hilarious. He couldn't have been more upset if he'd tried. So he might as well have been stamping his feet and shaking his fists, like, "Oh, it's not fair." So just not good enough. Do you know what I mean? But
Poor Emery. Well,
although having said that, I'm very glad we don't have to play Villa again this year because twice is enough.
yeah, yeah, you got to be careful with Villa, honestly. Yeah.
Very dangerous outfit. Very dangerous outfit.
Two other teams, Brighton, Bournemouth on Monday. Two teams that are in decent form, were in decent form. Bournemouth lost to Semenyo now. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a strange game for a
Um,
Monday night. That
well, you've got to fancy Brighton, haven't you? Because I mean, they've just come off
at
the back
home,
of. I
yeah,
mean, well, again, if you watched it, I know it's FA Cup again, but Man United went full strength. Brighton effectively played the second team, and still Brighton's second team took down Man United reasonably comfortably. And we've said it time and time again. Brighton always look like they're going to score goals. The matches they lose look like they're going to score. The matches they win look like they're going to score. Um, and as you say, Brighton, Bournemouth have kind of lost their talisman now. As loyal as he was, and I do think if you ever want an example of how to handle an exit from a club, you watch that Semenyo thing. He's acted right all the way through, literally
great
right until his
example.
last kick in a Bournemouth shirt.
Yeah,
So that's how you should handle it, not like these freaking babies like Isak. And to be fair, I know you won't like to hear it, but Wisser as well. I mean, it
no,
was, it
no,
was all right.
no, fully,
Newcastle fans
fully
getting
agree.
angry. You're
Got
all
no
angry at
qualms
Isak,
either.
but then Wisser did exactly the same thing to get himself to your place. So a bit of context to it. But no, I think Semenyo's handled it in exactly the right way. He's been upfront about everything. And I think you could see that in the appreciation of his teammates and the fans, and obviously what an amazing way to bow out with your
Great,
last tick
great
in the
strike
shirt
on
if
it.
it's in the winning your team the match. Um, so yeah, it's an interesting match on Monday night, but I think I think Brighton at home will win. I think, and yeah, let's go Brighton 2-1. I think 2-1 to Brighton.
I had 2-1 written down as well. Tell you what, I'm gonna go two piece. I'm gonna give Bournemouth a bit more of a chance. Just
Paining
bit
you
of
to do that though, isn't it? It's paining you to do that, to play the game over your natural impulse.
it is, yeah.
I
I
don't.
don't
I mean,
expect.
I'll be honest. When you're playing the game, I've got no idea where we're at from a scores point of view over Christmas. There've been that many bloody games and predictions and whatever. I can't. Where are we at? I
Yeah,
mean, I
I
must be at
know.
least 50 points clear by my reckoning.
Yeah. Yeah, just to be different. I think two piece. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what Bournemouth do and if they bring someone in off the back of Semenyo going. And Brighton again. Mitoma's back now, I believe, as well. Pascal Gross is back. So a bit of the old Brighton coming back. So yeah, Brighton should be too strong. Yeah,
And Welbeck's in amazing form.
he's been great for me.
You know,
He should be getting a shout for
he's,
England based on his form. If Tuchel's sticking
he's,
to what he's saying, picking players based on club form will get you into the England squad, then there's quite a few players that you wouldn't not normally necessarily include in that, but Welbeck's one of them, I think.
think. I think unfortunately for Welbeck, I think he's form wise, yes, but I think when you look at practicality, he's too old to include the England squad. Do you know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, I think you look at Harry Kane's definitely on the plane unless he gets injured. I think if Ollie Watkins gets anything back to like his expected anticipated form, he's automatically on the plane.
Yeah,
And I think at that point, but yes, you're looking at form, but I think you're probably taking a punt on a younger English striker to go. Because you've got the experience in Harry Kane. Watkins obviously played a lot of games now for England, or something involved in a lot of squads for England, so he's got a bit
yeah,
of knowledge now. I think you're looking for that third striker. I don't think you take more than three strikers. So I think you're looking for that third, particularly in this day and age where so many number tens can play the false nine. I think you'd be taking a third striker. And there's an argument to say you wouldn't take a third striker because we've got so many bloody number tens. There's an argument we let the striker go and we'll just take more number tens because Bellingham likes playing the number nine role, effectively the false nine role for Real Madrid anyway. So and he's certainly got the finishing ability. But I think if you are going to take a third striker, you go for someone younger because you just never know at the age. Welbeck's obviously super fit. He's kept himself in great condition. He's had a fantastic career. Obviously, played for United, played for Arsenal. He's playing well for Brighton. But I just think at that age, you've always got to worry, haven't you, in tournament football? What happens if he just picks up a knock? Because even if it's a week or two, you've missed the tournament, haven't you? So
yeah.
I think you probably err towards younger players for the
It's
tournament. Because I think if you're two, and I know let's look at generally because I know two clubs only cares about that World Cup because he anticipates he might be going afterwards. But from an England setup point of view, and then obviously it's not all on two clubs. There is a team that talks about who's going to be picked. It might be Tuchel's call, but everybody talks about it. I think you've got to be going well with the best will in the world. Harry Kane's probably not going to the next World Cup. Ollie Watkins is probably not going to the next World Cup because they lost some of his pace. So if you're back into this argument we used to have when Owen went at 18 and when Rooney went as a youngster and when Theo Walcott went at 16 and never played, but the point was they got the experience.
yeah,
So I think you're probably looking at going right, maybe, and I know people want form, but I think to some of you going, well, does Liam Delap get on the plane because he's young, an English
I've seen
striker?
enough from him,
I'll be
to be
honest,
fair.
I'm I'm not clued up enough on who the young English strikers are at the minute, but for me, you kind of go, right, who's that England striker who will be at the next World Cup, who we think will be at the next World Cup, who it's worth taking to get, or even who we think is going to be there for the next Euros, because there's question marks about Harry Kane will be there from a Euro because of he is losing pace, and I get the fact he's adapted his game. But if we actually want an out and out number nine, Harry Kane right now is almost unviable because he can do it in Germany because it's slower pace of game. And so if you could argue maybe it'd be all right in the World Cup because it's slower pace of game, but he can't do in Premiership anymore. That's one of the reasons why I moved on beyond the frustration with Spurs. But so I think you're looking at who is that next striker who needs some experience, who will then be mature enough to potentially be the understudy or be the line leader in the next Euros.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, Welbeck, he's too old. He's not going to be him. So I think for that reason, in my mind, he'll miss out. But then again, I'm not a German in charge of England, am I? So what do I know? Anything could happen.
Anything could happen, absolutely can. I would like to see Lewis Hall on that plane. I think he's been phenomenal. A left back for Newcastle over the last few weeks.
Well, there's no
Really
bias
impressed.
there at all, is there?
There isn't no. I just yeah, he's been quality. Lewis Meyer. I could just name the whole new team for. But yeah, no, I think Tuchel. I think
Why?
if
We don't want to finish mid-table. We want to finish top tier. Let's get through all the English players who play for Arsenal, Villa, Liverpool,
there's
Man
loads,
City first. Then once,
we
then it,
should be winning this World Cup in my
so
eyes. To
we
be
should have
fair,
won about the last four.
I know.
If you remember, Mr. Southgate's appalling mishandling of our squad, we should have won at least 2 Euros and probably the World Cup as well under his watch. So, you know, we've done what we needed to do, I think, which is we've upgraded what's in the dugout. Now the players got absolutely no excuse.
No,
Like,
absolutely.
Tuchel is a master tactician. He's a cup competition tactician. He knows how to handle a squad of players. He's got all the quality in the world. It's a bit like the Arsenal situation. If England don't win the World Cup this year, it's a mentality issue, in my opinion, because we've got back to what people are going to throw at Arsenal if they don't win this season. From an England point of view, we've got the best squad. So if we've got the best squad, there's no reason we shouldn't be winning the World Cup at all. And I get the fact it's a cup competition, anything can happen, and a dodgy VAR call and blah 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 blah. But this is literally all Thomas Tuchel's had to think about for 2 years, and it's everything we've been building towards. And to be fair to Tuchel, the actual record in games is you can't fault it, can you? Um, so yeah, I think it should be very exciting. It's very exciting. So even more exciting if any of us actually be there. We could afford to remortgage our hours and get a ticket to one match, but which is frustrating because as I said to you, I was planning to go
Okay.
originally, but it's just impossible to get tickets. So
There has been a bit of a backlash, hasn't there? And there's been a lot of people give tickets back. It's
yeah, I've
17,000
heard
tickets
about that.
rounded back this week, I believe.
It's not a cost thing, though, is it?
I don't know. I didn't read the article properly. I just know that there's
Isn't
still a
that
lot
because
of
of all
talk
these?
about.
Isn't that because of all these? And I apologise if you want to mute me and edit me out of this video, but like, isn't that because of all these lefty woke freaks who are moaning about these flipping ICE protests?
Yeah, something to
Like,
do with that.
honestly.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to travel to America, get it off my chest, right? If you're going to travel to America, right? If a law enforcement official with a gun walks up to you and says, "Do not drive away from me," just don't drive away.
Well,
You'll be alive. You'll be fine. I've been stopped by the police in America. You know what I did? I kept my hands on the wheel. I didn't move. I said, "Yes, officer, no, officer, thank you, officer," and I didn't get shot. So that's all you got to do. You don't need to hand your tickets back. It's not the Wild West. Don't be pathetic. If you've got a ticket, go to the World Cup. Enjoy the World Cup.
enjoy it. It's a great experience.
And by the time the World Cup's on, you can probably take a quick short boat ride over to Greenland and enjoy that as well without an extra visa. Dancer.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Oh,
I'll get the
well,
US flag up for next time, don't worry.
yeah, just pro Trump, yeah, whatever. I get my own banner.
Land of the free.
Let's hope the politics don't affect the World Cup too much, and everyone that's travelling
Yes,
to the States gets
yes.
to enjoy the football, and it's not.
This is football. Stay out of our
That's
game.
yeah, absolutely no politics in football. We don't condone politics in football at all. Stay the fuck out. Uh, but yeah.
Definitely.
Right, well, we'll be back Monday. We'll be back Monday to give you our review of what's happened over the weekend. Plenty to discuss, plenty of mocking to be had done with our predictions. If you want to drop in your own predictions into the comments box, whoever gets the highest score, we do score off. We'll get a mention and a shout. So feel free, please,
Absolutely.
to get your predictions in the comments. Yeah, like, follow, subscribe, and all that bollocks. Hit that bell and all that. But yeah, I think that's it from us, and we'll catch you guys Monday.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Phil. It's been a great show again, and
No
see you Monday.
dramas. Good to see you
Thank you very
all.
much. Take care, guys. Thank you very
Have fun,
much.
folks. It's all right. How do we do timeline there?